everybody. It's week 2 of Sisters in Shape Adventures and Competing, and I've just finished off my first week of diet and exercise. So this week's topic is diet, and I thought it was appropriate for me to be filming this in the car while my lovely boyfriend here drives, because I did want to touch on dieting while you travel and how you can fit that into competing. Because, like I said last week, this is really meant to be a lifestyle that you can sustain year-round, and you're going to be traveling. That's just how life is, and if you can't work that into your schedule, if you have to stay at home 100% of the time in order to compete, that's not reasonable. So this week I went up to Ottawa, and we do that about once a month, and stay there for the weekend. And I made sure I got to the gym 2 times, and I ate out for one of my meals, and I was at a cottage for one of my meals, and it's just very unpredictable. And what I find is being more flexible with your meal timing is key, because you can't always eat 5 times a day when you're traveling. But you still need to make sure that you hit your macros and your calorie targets. So just because you're out and you don't think that you can get 5 meals in, maybe you can get 3, but just make those slightly bigger meals. Make sure you're getting your lean protein, a carb source, and a fat source. So if you can possibly plan and ask whether food is going to be available wherever you're going to be going, or possibly pre-package. I know I do that a lot for this weekend because I'm familiar with my boyfriend's family. I didn't do too much. I know that they usually have Greek yogurt in the house, and chicken breasts, and lots of vegetables and fruit, and chia seeds, and all those good diet foods. But I did make sure when we went to the cottage, she said, oh, what's going to be for dinner? And it turned out to be hamburgers. So I just went out and I bought my own chicken breasts. And people are very accommodating. People don't get too offended, usually, if you bring your own food and you just explain. So just stand up for yourself, be an adult about it, and take responsibility. And make sure that you get to stick with your diet, but you still get to enjoy it. I was out there jumping on the trampoline while the food was being prepared, and still got to have a great time with everybody. The thing that I always bring, though, because most people don't have it, is protein powder. So I either pre-package it in little Ziploc bags with my glutamine and things like that, my BCAAs, so that I know that when it does count, I can get the nutrient timing in, and that's something that I'll probably do an entire vlog on, because it is very important, nutrient timing. But I always make sure I get my protein powder in right after my workout, regardless of whether I'm traveling or whether I'm at home. So if you are going to just bring one thing, that would be the thing I recommend. But to talk more generally about diet this week, as it's the start of the preparation and contest prep, I'll give you a rundown of what I'm actually planning and what I've started to do. One of my main things is that I always remain flexible, and if something's not working, I'm not going to just stick with it blindly because that was the plan. I think it's very important to be able to assess and say, okay, you know what? This is clearly not getting me to my goals, so what can we do to change? But so far, so good. I started off at 150 pounds last Monday, and weighed myself this morning, which was Sunday, so 6 days later, I'm 148 pounds. So that's a 2-pound drop, which is exactly what I was aiming for. I always find I lose weight a little bit faster at the beginning as my metabolism's a little bit stronger, and it'll slow down throughout the course of the contest prep. But one of my main goals in this whole contest prep is to keep my metabolism high and to keep my calories really high throughout, so that my metabolism still has that capacity and the flexibility. And there's different ways that you can maintain metabolic flexibility within your program. It doesn't all have to be just keeping your calories high and hoping for the best. So one of the things I'm doing, and I haven't started it this week because I knew that my metabolism was still really strong. I'll start next week is varying my calories on a daily basis. So on days where I have a really hard workout, so legs particularly, is a day when I will have my full 2,000 calories a day. And that's what I'm starting at, is 2,000 calories a day. And I know that probably sounds really high for a lot of people, but I've worked really hard to make sure that my metabolism is very high, and that I can handle that. And like I said, I've lost 2 pounds this week eating almost 2,000 calories. I didn't quite hit those targets every day. I was probably more like 1,900 calories this week. So next week I'll vary between days where I have 1,700 calories and days where I have 2,000 calories. And what I do is I keep all my macronutrient ratios the same, but I just change my calorie levels. And that's one of the ways that you can keep your metabolism guessing, essentially. Your body doesn't really know what it's going to get every day, so it just kind of keeps on working and tries to maintain a higher level of functioning so that you can hopefully lose weight consistently and it doesn't get into a rut. The other way that you can do it is by varying your macros within the same amount of calories. So say you're eating 1,800 calories a day every day. One day you can eat 300 grams of carbs and keep your fats and your proteins a little lower, and then the next day drop right down to 100 grams of carbs and up your proteins and your fats. So it's mainly carb cycling, and you can look it up. That's what it's called, is carb cycling. So there's calorie flexibility, and then there's carb cycling, are the two main ways that I'm going to be trying to maintain metabolic flexibility. And I have a slight obsession with Excel. So for me, I've got this all planned out in a lovely spreadsheet, and I'll share that with you guys. So if you pop over to my blog at onthegofitness.wordpress.com, I'll put a link to it there. And please keep in mind that this is what I'm planning, and to think critically, think nerdy, people. Make sure that it's going to work for you, and don't just take it as a plan. It's just a tool. Sorry, that's our GPS there. But I have it done week by week, and it'll change, like I said. If I think I need to drop my calories more or less, if I'm still losing weight, that'd be great. I can keep my calories high. I will, and I'll just change that spreadsheet as I go, and I have a calendar for my training program as well. I have a tab in there that details a lot of the foods that I eat on a regular basis, so things like chicken breasts, sweet potatoes, avocados, chia seeds, all those kinds of things, and what the macronutrient ratio is. I showed that to one of my friends, and my boyfriend showed that to a colleague at work, and they, said, "Oh my God, that looks like so much work," because what they didn't realize is I don't plan out every single food that I'm going to eat in a day based on that food list. That just gives me an idea of, okay, well, I know that there's 40 grams of protein in a 5-ounce tenderloin steak, for instance, but there's a lot of calories. So I might have that if I'm having a day where I didn't get enough protein throughout the day, and I need to have a really big dinner and get that last bit of protein in there and up my calories a little bit. I'm very flexible. I use an app called sparkpeople.com, and it's a great food tracker. I know a lot of people have had really good experiences with MyFitnessPal as well, which is one that you can check out. I just have all of my favorites stored in Spark People, so I stick with them. I've been doing this for so long now, and I track periodically, even when I'm not doing contest prep, that it's not stressful for me. I don't feel like I'm obsessing, and I can just kind of track as I go. And I know that Erica, for instance, does macros. She uses her hand as as a guide for how much the portions should be. And I pretty much do the same, except that I then put it in a computer program. And then I can compare, and I can make sure, oh, you know, I haven't had enough today, so I should have more. Or, oh, I've had way too much in my first 3 meals, so let's make the snack and dinner a little bit smaller. And it just gives me peace of mind. So find what works for you. But those are some tools you might want to try out, and you can check out my spreadsheet. Yeah, so I'll see you next week. Check out Erica and Stephanie's vlogs if you haven't already. I'm going to be posting all of the vlogs in one location in the SiS Adventures in Competing tab on my blog. So hopefully that'll be a bit more organized and look a little prettier than just having it kind of mishmash all over the place. And next week's will be exercise, so you'll get to hear about my lovely calendar that I have and all the high intensity intervals I'm doing. I've been super tired because of it, but feeling really good. So I will see you next week, and until then,